Hello, everyone. Welcome to week 6. This week, the content is going to be in relation to visual development. What to do this week? Readings for this week are from textbooks. We've attached PDFs for the textbook, so you don't have to look for these resources. From the Foundations of Low Vision, we've attached important tables and content from Chapter 8, which is the Clinical Low Vision Services, and Chapter 9, Visual Development. And from the Functional Vision LOVEC, Chapter 2, Visual Functions as Components of Functional Vision. Last week, you would have read Chapter 3 from this textbook. And other readings are Vision Stimulation Instruction Sequence, and problems with vision stimulation, and then the visual efficiency information for parents. That is a website. And then other optional textbook readings. So in the syllabus, you do have some optional texts. And if you happen to have ordered those, then in relations to this week's module, read Chapter 3, 6, and 7 from LEVAC, and pages 17 and 18 from Vision Assessments of Infants and Children with and Without Special Needs, if you happen to order those books. Apart from readings, there are some videos. One of them is an example of modern visual stimulation material. It's a video of high contrast circles that will help students to track and engage in visual activity. And then there is another video where a teacher develops visual efficiency by teaching to make choices. So it's a functional task. And then so the assignment that is due this week is the eye condition report. Make sure you collaborate with your partner. It is due this Sunday. So finish that. And then the discussion is on the topic of visual stimulation controversy. Please note that you have to post your initial response before you can see the response of others. So just to give you a quick overview on this week's content, the visual development and clinical low vision services. The clinical low vision evaluations is provided by a low vision specialist. So in Colorado, I always take my students to a low vision clinic, which is run by Dr. Thini. And I find it very useful for my students and for the educational programming that I would be providing for my students. The reason is it's more the devices that they recommend is not only basis on the vision conditions of the students, but also basis on the tasks that needs to be performed in an educational setting. Say for a student needs to access a distant target and take notes, then the suggestions, the recommendation would be a optical device that has split screen between distant target and near target. So I have personally learned about different optical devices and recommendations just by going to the low vision clinic. So find out in your state what is the low vision clinic that is run and who is it, how do you contact, and things like that. And apart from the low vision services, there is we've attached a continuum of visual development table from the Foundations textbook, Chapter 9. I find that very, very useful. It just gives a sequence of visual behaviors from newborn to about 5 years. So note that students with low vision follow the same sequence of visual development, but probably at a slower pace. But they may not be able to demonstrate some complex visual behaviors as well. And then consider what happens to that continuum of visual development, to babies who are born premature, or what happens if somebody has a traumatic brain injury, what happens to the visual development. And then how would you, as a TVI, facilitate visual development? Do you believe that visual stimulation activities actually help in visual development? These are questions that you can kind of think through while you're reading the text this week. So what is visual stimulation? The first thing that comes to my mind, visual stimulation is basically activities that activate the visual pathways in our brain. So for me, it is like kind of what activates the neural pathways between the eyes and the brain. So this is very much in relation to students with CVI, and CVI is a topic that we'll start covering starting next week. So how does visual stimulation help or affect students with CVI is another question. Visual efficiency cannot be taught in an isolated manner. In my prior presentations, I had mentioned this as well. We do not take a child and just teach visual efficiency skills. So how does that correlate to visual stimulation tasks? Can you make those tasks more functional for a child? This is an important topic for CVI as well, brain plasticity and visual development. Remember, the brain is a resilient organ that can recover from injury. So, and there's like limited research in this area about brain and vision, especially for students with CVI. One of the resources that I think is useful to read is Vision in the Brain, which is the Understanding Cerebral Visual Impairment in Children by Dr. Lueck and Dutton. Note that Dr. Dutton's view on vision and brain is very different from Dr. Christine Roman's. So there's a lot of controversy around this topic. So as a TVI, we are kind of in the middle between the medical field and the educational field. So what I think we should do is just remember that any kind of knowledge is power. So instead of getting in the middle of the controversy, we have to understand that the more we know about how the medical condition affects a student's vision, the better we can help in the educational setting. So that's about it. Good luck for your eye condition report. The idea is to post all your eye condition reports in discussions the following week, so that you can comment on your peer group's product. So good luck with that, and then have fun this week. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.